Here at VCM, we offer a large range of camshafts for the LS engine, and we know it can be quite a hard choice picking what you want. So today we're going to run through our range, tell you what suits what, whether it be boosted, NA, standard stall or a manual. So we're going to go through all the camshafts today and see what you guys like. Bit of a disclaimer before we jump into the camshafts today. What we're going to run through today is all recommendations for the LS engine. They are getting quite old now. A lot of them are modified, worn down. So if you are unsure, please talk to your engine builder or give one of our friendly staff a call. Starting right from the start, this is our street cam section. These camshafts here are to suit standard stall converters in automatic vehicles. So starting with the smallest camshaft we offer, this is the VCM 532. Specs on this are 215, 223 on a 112 lobe separation. This camshaft will comfortably suit a stock stall converter in both boosted and NA applications. Moving on to our next camshaft is the VCM 5SC. The specs on this one are 224, 232 on a 114.5 lobe separation. Being the name SC, this camshaft was designed specifically for boost, however it does work very well in a naturally aspirated car as well. This is to suit standard stall, however it is on the limit of the stall. If you're running a boosted application, it might be worth putting a little stall converter in it. However, we've run it with a standard stall plenty of times. The final camshaft in our street cam section is the VCM 480. So the specs on this one, 224, 228 on a 110 lobe separation. This does suit cathedral port or rectangle port, so right throughout the LS range. It is more or less a smaller version of the VCM 710, so we wouldn't recommend it for boosts with the lobe separation being so tight. It does suit automatic or manual vehicles. If you're running a manual, anywhere from 327s and up gear-wise is going to help. If you're running an automatic, we typically recommend 2800 RPM stall converter. I have had guys run it with the stock stall. You can get away with it, but it is going to have a little bit of push. It is a decently lumpy camshaft at idle, so if you are looking for that noise but want to maintain some drivability, this is the camshaft for you. On to the next section of camshafts, we have our mid-range cams. All of these cams suit high stalls and manual vehicles, so let's jump into the specs and see what they suit. Starting off with the VCM 11, this is 225, 232 on a 112.5 lobe separation. As far as stall goes, if it's an automatic vehicle, we recommend at least a 3000 RPM stall converter. This camshaft can be used with boost, but it is not ideal and it works best in a manual car. So if you have a manual and you're looking for a little bit of chop, a little bit more power, but don't want to be pig rooting around, all that sort of stuff, this is the camshaft you go for. Moving on to the next camshaft is the VCM 3. This is 228, 232 on a 112 lobe separation. Very similar to the VCM 11, however it is a little bit larger. So if you are looking for something a little bit choppier, this is the one you would go for. Works well in LS1, LS2, LS3, anything from the LS range. As far as high stall goes, we recommend around a 3200 RPM at a minimum, as well as a set of diff gears if possible, sort of 3, 4, 6 and up. Works good in manuals and autos, not good for boost. This is more of an NA camshaft. Last camshaft in the mid cam section is the VCM 883. Specs on this are 228, 238 on a 113 lobe separation. We recommend this camshaft for rectangle port, but you can use it in all the LS range. It does require a decent stall if you're running an automatic, 3000 RPM and above. If you're running a manual, 3, 4, 6 gears and up will do the job. It does suit NA and boosted. It's just a really good all-round camshaft. So if you're looking for some noise, looking for a bit of drivability as well, this is the camshaft for you. Moving on to our next section is our upper mid camshafts. First camshaft in this section is the VCM 714. Specs on this are 232, 234 on a 114 lobe separation. We recommend this camshaft for cathedral port. It is designed for boost, does work NA as well, but with the wide lobe separation, we recommend this one for boost for the cathedral port guys. Does need a high stall converter, 2800 RPM and above. It is a very choppy camshaft, so you're getting up into decent specs now, but this does work very good for you boosted guys. Moving on to the VCM 713. Specs on this are 233, 238 on a 112 lobe separation. We recommend this camshaft for rectangle port. It is getting up there in the specs, so it's quite an aggressive camshaft. We don't recommend it for boost with the tighter lobe separation. If you're running an automatic, you'll need a 3000 RPM stall converter, and if you're in a manual, 3, 4, 6 gears and up. The last camshaft is the trusty VCM 710, which I'm sure a lot of you know about. Specs are 232, 234 on a 110 lobe separation. This is probably one of the choppiest camshafts we sell. We only recommend it for cathedral port, but I have seen guys fit them to rectangle port. It is super choppy. If you're after that noise that everyone snaps their head at, this is the camshaft you go for. We don't necessarily recommend it for a manual, but if you are going to run it in a manual, you'll need something around 3.9 gears at a minimum. If you're running in an auto, we recommend a 3500 RPM stall converter and above. For those of you looking for maximum power or maximum noise, these are the camshafts for you. First one off the shelf is the VCM 122. Specs on this are 231, 242 on a 112 lobe separation. This is a camshaft we introduced a couple years ago, and it's been a hit ever since we have. It is very aggressive, very choppy. In terms of characteristics, it is very similar to the 710, but bigger. So if you do have an automatic vehicle, we recommend a 3800 RPM stall converter and above. If you're running a manual, 3/7 gears and up is what you're looking for. VCM 825, specs on this are 228, 242 on a 115 lobe separation. This is the VCM 5SC on steroids, so it's the next step up from that camshaft. We recommend it for rectangle port, really good for boost. Designed specifically for boost, but it does work very well NA. You can actually use this with a standard stall converter. If you are looking to put a high stall in, we recommend around 2800 and up. In a manual, you can probably get away with the standard diff gears, but if you are looking to upgrade, 3, 4, 6 and above. Second to last camshaft is the trusty old VCM 16. So the specs on this are 233, 238 on a 114 lobe separation. Probably the oldest cam grind on our list. It wouldn't surprise me if it's older than me. This is a really good all-round camshaft as well. It does suit cathedral and rectangle port. It suits NA and boost, probably more boost than NA. If you're looking for max chop, max power, this is the camshaft you go for. Works well in a manual, but we do recommend a set of diff gears, once again, sort of around the 3/7 and up. If you do have an automatic, it does need a decent stall. We typically recommend 3800 RPM and above. The last camshaft on the list, also happens to be the biggest, is the VCM 13. Specs on this, 238, 242 on a 112 lobe separation. This works with both cathedral and rectangle port. Not necessarily suited to boost, so we wouldn't recommend it. This is more of a NA camshaft. If you're looking to make max power out of your NA, max chop, all the fun stuff, this is what you go for. As far as applications, it does suit automatic and manual. Same thing with the manuals like previous cams, we do recommend at least 3/7 gears and up. If you're running an automatic, it does require a big stall. We typically recommend at least a 4000 RPM stall converter, but it is worth it because it's going to make the maximum power out of a NA LS.